Three high-profile cases are in the news this week, so that's why we've asked Delaware Attorney General Beau Biden to be our first-person guest this week. Welcome to First.
Good to be here, Mark.
The first item is a state ban on a substance known as bath salts. It was signed as an executive order last week. Where does this come from? What do bath salts do? Why are they now banned?
Bath salts are a deadly potion and chemical on the streets of our state and around the country. In 2010, for instance, there were 300 reports of this substance to the National Center of Poison Control. Just in the first 5 months of this year, over 3,000 reports of this stuff. This stuff makes people highly agitated, makes them suicidal. It's kind of a combination of LSD, methamphetamine, cocaine. It's a bad subject, and that's why the governor and his team, and as well as the President of the United States, as of this Friday, will ban it nationally. It was banned, as you know, as of last week, and as of today, it'll be banned nationally as well. And it's important to take this off our streets. And now people are going to go to jail, and we're going to take action against them if they sell this stuff or buy this stuff.
And what's your office's role in sort of dealing with those caught now with bath salts?
Well, now that it's a Schedule I narcotic under our code, there are going to be consequences for it, for selling it, possessing it, or possessing it with the intent to deliver. Possession of it, mere possession, can end up a year in jail, and possession with the intent to deliver can be over up to 8 years in jail. If there's other aggravating factors, that is, if the person who possesses it or tries to sell it has other prior history of criminal record, they can go to jail for longer. So we're taking this very seriously. There's very serious consequences for its possession, its distribution, its sale, and mostly importantly, there's consequences for the victims of people that are around this stuff and the people that take it, quite frankly.
There's been a lot of speculation that the man accused of killing a Newcastle County police officer recently was under the influence of bath salts. Did that have any kind of influence on this executive order and sort of the rush to get this done?
Well, I think it did to a certain degree. I can't comment on the specifics of the investigation of Lieutenant Zerba's killing. As the case develops, I'll be able to speak to more to that. But no doubt that this highlighted the issue. It's an issue that my office has been focused on since early in the summer. We've begun to draft legislation on it and work with other ways we might ban it. But the good thing about Delaware is you can get together quickly and move quickly and take action. And that's what we did.
Another item on the agenda this week is the merger of Blue Cross of Delaware and Highmark. Yeah. You were in Dover this week because of your concerns about that. Explain us what your point was in those hearings today.
Point is a very basic one. For 75 years, Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is a good corporate citizen in the state, a non-for-profit corporate citizen, has not paid taxes. And there's been a bargain in that. The bargain is that not-for-profits do something good for the community. In the case of Blue Cross Blue Shield, for three kind of wide spectrum: uninsured, underinsured, and their policyholders. Their policyholders should see a benefit in reduced premiums, and they have an obligation based on their not-for-profit status to take care of underinsured and uninsured. If someone other than Blue Cross Blue Shield's board here in Delaware is going to make decisions about it, and if this merger were to go through, it's going to be made by an entity called Highmark in Pittsburgh. If someone else is going to be making a decision about how taxpayer dollars are disposed of, that is the reserve that they've built up over the last 75 years, which amounts to about $180 million of Delaware taxpayer money, my belief is that it should be used for Delawareans. And I don't want a boardroom in Pittsburgh deciding about how Delaware monies are used for Delawareans, because I don't have confidence it will be used for Delawareans. And so that's why I've asked that as a condition of this merger going forward, the insurance commissioner insist, and she has the ability to do it, to insist that a foundation be created to be the guardian of these monies. To be a guardian of these monies, and have an assessment of how much those monies are, whether it's $45 million, as I assert it would be, the public benefit asset, that is Delaware monies for Delawareans, and that's the argument I made today, this week in Dover.
And what's the relationship of the Office of Attorney General versus Insurance Commissioner? How do the offices work? How does it work that you kind of advocate for this before the insurance commissioner?
Sure. The insurance commissioner has the ultimate say about whether or not this transaction will be approved. And she has certain conditions under her statute that need to be met and she needs to be satisfied by. But I, as the Attorney General, stand in my common law authority, my constitutional authority, my statutory authority. I stand in the shoes of the citizens of this state to make sure that their interests are represented, whether it be the policyholders, who are the policyholders of a not-for-profit, or the citizens of the state who are the beneficiaries of this not-for-profit. And so that's why it's called parens patriae, the Latin term for it. But I stand in the shoes of the citizens of this state to make sure that they get the benefit of the bargain, that the state of Delaware made with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Delaware for the last 75 years. We didn't just give them not-for-profit status and not tax them just because we wanted to be good guys to them. We did it for a reason. We did it because there would be a benefit that would inure to the benefit of the state and of its citizens. And that's what I'm trying to fight for.
And finally today, the order to demolish the former offices of Earl Bradley in Lewis. Talk about that decision, sort of why now, and what impact you think it will have for the victims and the people in that community.
Two goals that I've had for the last 20 months. One is to make sure that Earl Bradley never walks out of a prison alive. And our office accomplished that when the sentence was handed down in late August. Number two is to do everything we can to ensure that the victims have everything they need. Not just yesterday, not just today, but for going forward. And the victims, and as I call them, survivors. The survivors of this tragedy in Sussex County, throughout the state of Delaware and the region, quite frankly, shouldn't have to pass by a constant reminder on Route 1 of what happened to so many. And so our office took action this week, and we'll continue it through into early next week, making sure that that site, the physical site, is no longer a part of Delaware. And so it's going to be eliminated, it's going to be torn down, and it's never going to have to be, when someone drives by, they're no longer going to have to be reminded about the physical structure where these crimes took place. And we've had the cooperation of both the private sector and the public sector on this, but my office has been incredibly involved in making sure that this very, very public symbol is no longer part of our state.
So does this kind of close the Bradley case in your mind?
Unfortunately, I don't think the Bradley case will ever be closed in my mind. There's too many people affected by this, and so many survivors, that it's going to be part of what I do in my job and my office does for a long time. And whether long after I'm Attorney General, this state has an obligation to take care of the folks and the kids, both parents and the children that survived this heinous crime.
Beau Biden, thank you very much for joining us on First Delaware. Attorney General Beau Biden, thank you for being our first person this week.